Hey everyone, this is Jasmine from New Paradigm Beings. I hope you're having an amazing week or weekend wherever you are in the world. I hope you're enjoying the comfort of Mother Earth and the protection of Father Sky. Please excuse any noise that you might hear in the background. It is game day weekend here in the United States, college game day. My dad is upstairs looking at the game. So, I just wanted, since we're in between the new moon and the full moon, I wanted to do a reading for all my lovely people out there. I do include the collective, whether you are someone who is within a twin flame dynamic, or if you are just you're just someone who is focused on your relationship with Source. I hope, whoever you are, that my readings can bring some type of clarity to your everyday life. And with that, I just want to get started. Okay. Okay. I've been feeling a lot more sensitive lately. Like I've been feeling a lot of different emotions and projections and just a lot of energy, especially around the nighttime. There are a lot of things shifting and moving. I just want to say, if the shifts are causing you any discomfort, or if you've been feeling like there's been a lot of pain, like if you're dealing with this in a very highly sensitive place, number one, just keep in mind that there's always prayer, meditation, and activity to fall back on. If you find that you're really unable to stay still, it's a good idea to try and try to take a bath in very warm water, salt water. Try to exert your energy through a craft or art. And please remember, there are people who in the world who are refusing to move or change or fluctuate with these changes. Excuse me. There are those in the world who are refusing to allow the changes that Spirit is offering them to go through so that they can grow. There are a lot of people who, they refuse to see the light. And just so you know, to put up resistance to Spirit and to the love that we're meant to feel, there's actually a lot more pain involved with them. There is actually a lot more pain when people live in resistance. So just keep in mind, there may be a lot of, you might be feeling a lot of pain right now, but there are people who, because of their willingness, their strong-headedness, or because of, and this isn't to sound critical, but because of, their refusal to open their hearts, there's a lot more pain for them right now. Of course, like in this world, there's a lot more pain for people who have kept their heart hard, okay? But please, continue to have compassion for everyone, including yourself, in times where it feels as if like there's just nothing but pain. Just keep in mind, like people, there are people who have chosen to have so much more pain, so much more pain. And honestly, like when I think of spirit and when I think of God and the universe and everything, the minute my mind tunes into that, it's impossible for me to feel like woeful. It's impossible for me to feel stress. And that's something that I believe is very great to keep in mind, to keep on your heart. Also, I highly recommend, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to Maya's Dream channel. I believe it's called Maya's Dream channel. Her name is Maya Kana. The last few videos that she had are so incredibly beautiful and auspicious, and really help people understand what it means to come back into balance and to live lovingly and live to your fullest potential. Okay, I'm gonna get started with this reading. Please excuse my little sinuses. I have been draining and draining and draining, but it feels so good. Okay. Okay, so I have the Three of Stones. I have creativity. A lot of us are on fire, and we're gaining a lot of clarity because we are deciding to be obedient to our craft and to our messages from God. Pat on the back for us who use our message, who use our talents from God and put them back into the earth the way that we are supposed to. Okay, we're photosynthesizing just like plants. When plants get that energy or that response, the feedback from earth, they photosynthesize, they produce their chlorophyll, they respond to the earth, and they grow. That's the essence of like cause and effect. So we are photosynthesizing. We're the essence of green, healthy human beings. So pat on the back for that. A lot of positive pats on the back today in this reading. We also have the 10 of Arrows, instruction. We have been focused on our goal. We have not been, we have evolved. We have not been falling into addictions or being comforted through detours, but we're very focused and at large with our goals and our destiny and our energy. We're being responsible, we're being forthright, and we're, we're allowing other people to feel the way they do and have their opinions, but in the end, we are our God power, and they are theirs. And nobody has the ability or right to cross those two, to cross another's boundary. So good job, everyone, for that. All right. Look at that. One of my favorite little cards, the Knight of Bows, the Fox. Let's see who is next to Mr. Fox. Mr. Eel. Okay. So, we have the Knight of Bows, the Fox, the element of fire, and then we have the Knight of Vessels, Eel. He is the Knight of the opposing element, which is water. Okay. We have learned to dance, of late we have learned to dance with the negative and the positive and the cool and the hot and the red and the blue, the white and the black. We are better understanding how necessary that balance is in that dance. That the balance is something divine that's made up of two beautifully equal dualities in this world. Okay. We have not been on too far to one side that we are cursing the other side. In other words, we are seeing that we need both sides of the mirror. We need both halves of the dimension. We require one element to react to the other element so that we can have the whole picture. We've been doing a very good job of that dance, and it's rewarded us with so much peace. Okay. And then there's the seer. There's a chance, and of course we're getting close to the Day of the Dead. This is we're in the Wiccan holiday of the fall, and our psychic tendencies are incredibly high at the moment. We may be understanding that it is it is much more like at one point where we may have felt a little more dense. We may be feeling a slightly more airy, or we may be feeling a little bit more fluid. Actually, it's because of this sight that we're even further able to discern the dance between the masculine and the feminine in this world right now. We might be feeling ourselves a little less affected by things that we would have been more affected by in the past. And a lot of us may have even gotten to the point where we might find ourselves being quite unaffected by trivia at the moment. This may be speaking towards the idea that although the current events of the world are bubbling up to a surface, we find ourselves unable to bubble up along with it. We're very clear, we see through the veil, we see through the smoke and the mirrors, and we're able to stay positive and cool, calm, and collective. Cool, calm, and collective. I want to pull a few more cards. That was probably the smoothest reading I've ever done. That was very congratulatory. A very congratulatory message from Spirit. So I want to get more into. I want to get deeper into that. Deeper into this reading. Okay. Mm. All right. So, what I get from this spread automatically is that this spread has to do with the physical lessons that are still to be learned. Um, the lessons and the excitement and the experience that is to be gained from our next steps, our next footsteps, like buying that plane ticket, getting ready for the next adventure, um, getting our transcripts sent to the next institution, what it's actually going to be like when we step foot on that new land and greet ourselves around the new people, new experiences, new openings, new relationships. There's a lot of physical, earthly energy here. Okay, the Eight of Stones has to do with being meditative on your craft. And I'd like to say that not all meditation is still meditation, especially if you've dabbled into Kriya Yoga, which is a yoga that is, I feel, very beneficial for when you to use prana as a force, a meditative force. I would definitely recommend experimenting with Kundalini yoga. But this card talks about the sacredness of being meditative, painting, sewing, sculpting. Okay. Cooking. Okay. So in this picture, we have two hares that are boxing. You know, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the hares, I love nature. I love how nature teaches us our lessons. It's like almost like a dance for territorial rights. Please keep in mind that when the ocean has motion, it moves back and forth, and sometimes it can be a little rough. But for people who understand the water and the element of change, we understand the rocking motion, and we can go with it as it moves. And if we resist, the less we resist, like surfers who know how to speak with the ocean, we don't get beat up or pushed around by the water. We allow the water to do what it's meant to do. And so it's not so much about a fight. This card is about a challenge coming to the door, and us meeting that challenge and solving that challenge or that obstacle. Meeting the requirements, physical requirements. It's like, okay, so let's say you have an extra bill on the table. You've been hit with an extra bill. That's okay. You know what? Pick up a craft. Pick up an extra craft that could make you money. It's okay to do that because you're a very powerful creator. You know, the universe wouldn't have given you that on the table if it didn't think that you were capable of handling it. So you know what? Tap into something that you've always wanted to tap into. If you wanted to be a blog writer or a ghost writer, maybe see if you can write one blog a week for a website and get a little cut off of that. Maybe you can get a contract job where you work maybe 1 or 2 Saturdays out of the month. something fun, or something that you think would build your repertoire or build your portfolio as a person of talent or as a human being, something that will enhance your ability to navigate in this world by offering that little bit of time that you have into something more to meet that, to solve that new challenge. You will realize just how capable and infinite you are as someone who has possibility and capability to deal with whatever is on your table eloquently and cleverly, with cleverness and competence. Okay. I really like this reading. All right. Now again we have balance. Ooh. We have balance. We have the two serpents crawling up the spine or the tree. It's like it's like the caduceus, which is what Kundalini is actually based on. Okay. So again, like you might see a repetitive message here when it comes to the balance, both within us and the outside world in general, and how, especially for those who are twin flames or know that they are twin flames, that is existence in itself. That is just properly existing. It doesn't get any more basic than that. It is the driving force. We understand what the world looks like when, maybe some people want to favor the red snake, or some people want to favor the blue snake. But what does it look like here? Oh, sure. Like, yeah, I see a red snake. I see a blue snake. I also see how they're wrapped around the tree. And they're an equal mirror of each other. This is sacred. But I want to open this book and go a little bit deeper into that. All right, so here's the reading point. You must be balanced and patient. The time is right to rest and contemplate all the facets of your existence. To continue now, you must be still and calm. Finding the inner balance that will enable you to see beyond the present state is a process of trust and confidence in your own strength. These facets may include the parts of your psyche that you would rather not deal with, but no amount of denial will rid you of the need to absorb and reclaim them. Balance is absolutely necessary to free the inner self from fears and self-doubts that keep us spiritually deaf, dumb, and blind. Once the natural state of balance is achieved, the plateau that will give you access into the higher self will be opened before you. Isn't that true? Okay. So, just like it said, going a little deeper, if you feel as if there is, like if you go within, you feel like, oh, okay, there's a little kink in my heart chakra. It makes me a little itchy and anxious, but you know what? I'm going to go and have 5 beers and I'll feel better after that. Sometimes that might seem like the answer. I mean, sure, there's nothing wrong with having your drinks every now and then, but everybody knows, like, there's no outside medicine to cure anything that's going on with inside. That's something that has to be acknowledged very personally. Like, okay, I'm going to feel this. I'm going to be honest with where this feeling came from and why it piled on my heart so heavily. Okay, and a lot of us are used to this process, but it's okay. It's a never-ending process. We get better at it each time, and sometimes it feels like we get worse. But we all know that we can't let pressures stay there within our hearts and within our bodies, because it turns it turns into a deep, it turns, eventually an anthill can turn into a mountain. um, and once we acknowledge what is going on, we can then take the necessary steps to decompress that and cry and do a little more research on who we are, and therefore be more aware of why we act the way we do, or why we manifest the pain that we do. And we can go on from there, and we can experience true harmony and true balance. Okay. These two wonderful serpents are able to look at each other and stare right through each other into infinity. They're the representation of climbing all the way to the top, and then into the infinite sky. Okay. Then we have the Woodward. Look how adamant this card is. It's so ready to go. It's come from somewhere. You can see the experience that this man has. And he still has places to go. I believe that this represents a lot of us in this time now. We're kind of in that mid state. We're kind of in that midterm state. And of course, like, some of us are taking literal midterms because it's the season of October. We can look behind where we've come from, and the scars and the weapons and the jewelry that we have attained, and the armor that we have attained from fighting those battles. But those battles are now overcome, and they're no longer needed. We no longer need to fight over and over in the same circle again. We can look back on it, not feel hindered, not feel ashamed, and look forward, being more wise and more equipped and more just more adamant to continue the path forward than we were once before. Onward ho. There's a lot ahead of us. There's a lot that we are able to there's a lot that we are qualified to meet. Many more challenges that we are qualified to meet. We are qualified for what's ahead of us and qualified for what the universe has to offer us. Okay? And of course, last but not least, I have empowerment. We just keep getting better and better and better and better. We are better with our relationships, no matter what that means to us. It could be sexual, romantic, platonic, communicative. We've gotten so good with this. Yes, communicating. We've gotten better with finances. We've gotten better with honesty. We've gotten better with just how to function in general. We've gotten better with our boundary setting. We've just gotten better consciously, lovingly. We can feel that, and we can keep going. Empowerment. You are empowered, no matter if the day feels slow or fast. Feel that center. Feel that center when you're at the desk, at work. Feel into that center when you're sitting down in front of a canvas. That center is real. The center is the truth, and it's your true power. The Five of Bows, and a lot of people are kind of, well, it's a new level every day, but a lot of people can look inside and say, wow, I'm actually kind of feeling this for the first time. I've never felt this before. Okay. All right, now we're in the Oracle section, the chakra energy cards. Let's see what this has to say for us today. Ooh, lots of bright, happy colors. All right. Auric field of the mental body says, I lovingly and gratefully accept each of my thoughts as an opportunity for healing and development. Boop. Okay. Number 17, let's take a look. If you divide your complex thinking into good and bad thoughts, you are just limiting yourself unnecessarily. Simply allow yourself to think anything and everything. This will open up an enormous creative potential within you and make room for the healing mechanism of self-cleansing within you. Don't let yourself be talked into believing you are not allowed to have certain thoughts because they could harm others. If it were that simple to damage things with our thoughts, then many politicians, business bosses, and military leaders would have long been dead 1,000 times over. In other words, if each thought became reality, every human being would wish others well. Sorry, I think there's a grammatical error. If each thought became reality, every human being would wish others well, would become a great healer in the blink of an eye. However, the reality is fortunately not quite as simple and superficial. So the more you listen to half-conscious ideas, intuitions, and associations, the more creative you will become, and the more of your creative potential you can use. Okay. $112. This one says, from day to day, I feel the currents of life within me and around me more intensively. From day to day, I feel the currents of life within me and around me more intensively. Our hands are capable antennas for physical and energetic perceptions, as well as for radiating all types of subtle forces. Those who use Reiki or another form of energetic healing have experiences within them. But do we really take our experiences seriously enough? How conscious are we in dealing with them? Do we not promote these senses? This chakra affirmation calls upon you to feel life through the senses of your hands. It will open up new dimensions for you if you follow its advice. The current of life is the red thread that leads you out of the labyrinth of separation and misfortune into the freedom of the oneness. No matter in what direction you follow the current of life, in the end you will always find the source of all life, the creative force. All right. On a random note, it might be good to cook with a little bit of oregano today. Oregano is something that's very strong and has a lot of life force, very herbaceous. And if you have gold topaz, carry that around with you. Something that's very explosive and vibrant, and that keeps your momentum going. Something that will, a lot of this reading had to do with momentum and a congratulatory pat on the back for keeping such a momentum in the past and where it's led you now and where you need to go. So there's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of exciting things. There's a lot of maybe there's a lot of study that you can tap into, a new classroom, a new relationship. Hopefully this reading has helped you become more equipped in how to navigate your power today. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. Reach out to me if you're interested in a reading, or if you just want to find out a little bit more about what I do. I am a Reiki practitioner, and I do quite a bit of other things in the metaphysical world. All right, and I'm also interested in doing creative projects overseas. So yeah, this is Jasmine from New Paradigm Beings. Thank you so much. Check the description for my email address. All right, bye-bye.